Welcome back for round 2 of CPW Science. Today we have 5 questions, and in the first one we're going to compare and combine data from a simple data presentation. In the second, we'll select data from a complex data presentation. In our third question, we'll select one piece of data from a simple data presentation. In our fourth question, we'll find basic information in a model. In our fifth, we'll find basic information in a text that describes a complex data presentation. And we'll know we'll be successful when we can first compare a table and a graph in order to determine an appropriate answer, and then select an appropriate answer based on a visual model. And our third question, if we can interpret a piece of text and correctly compare its information to a model, we'll be successful. And our fourth, we'll correctly compare 2 pieces of information in a visual model. And the last question, we'll evaluate a piece of text to accurately predict a response. So in our first question, it asks, a sample of gray till was recovered from another core taken from a nearby area. The table below shows the results of an analysis of the sample. So we see a data table here. Based on these data and the data provided in Figure 1 and Table 1, the sample of gray till corresponds most closely with which till from Figure 1. So this data table is about the gray till. And this part actually is a distractor because this type of information is not found in Figure 1. So we're going to look at resistivity in ohms and the carbon dioxide content in milliliters per gram. So if gray till has a resistivity of 85 on my table under resistivity, I'm going to find about where 85 would be and draw either a real line or a visual line in my head. And then for the carbon dioxide content at 22, so this has a different scale. So if I think 22 is probably right by the 20 line, I'm going to see that my 2 lines both intersect data in a common till, and that common till is gray till C. So the answer to number 1 is C. And our second question says, according to Figure 1, the oldest glacial advance in this area deposited which of the following till layers? So you have to look at this part right here, the depth in the core in meters. We have to assume here that 0 meters, which is the surface, is the most recent depositories, while the material at 110 meters below the surface is the oldest. So if we're looking for the oldest glacial advance in this area, we have to look for the option that's the lowest out of all the options. So gray till is beneath yellow till, but gray till is still below olive, green, and gray till, and then gray till D is below all of that. So D is the correct answer to number 2. And our third question says, according to Figure 1, which of the following statements best describes how the resistivity of the sand and gravel layer compares to the resistivity of the till layers? The resistivity measured in the sand and gravel layer is what? So if I look at resistivity in ohms in this particular section, I notice that it seems pretty high, as is at the very end of my scale. Compared to the other resistivity measurements, this is a lot higher than the other ones, so the answer that best fits this is B. And number 4, it asks, the average resistivity of the bedrock in the core is most similar to the average resistivity of which of the following till layers? So I'm going to compare the known resistivity of the bedrock. So I'm going to take this line, I'm going to put it at the resistivity of the bedrock, which is right here. And then I'm going to see what other piece of data also falls on that line. So I see that this is the closest, and that's the olive, green, and gray till. So my correct answer, number 4, is C. In the last question, it asks, the sediments being deposited at the present time at the site where the core was taken have a much higher CO2 content than any of the tills. So remembering that the materials up here are most recent and the materials deposited 110 meters below are our oldest, we're going to look at just the beginning part of our table here. So looking at the CO2, which is actually over on the very far right, I'm going to see that, okay, so there's no data for surface sediments. I have about 25 milliliters per gram of carbon dioxide in the brown till and about 35 milliliters per gram in the third level, which is the gray till A. So just looking at the very first few pieces of data, I can say that C is the correct answer for number 5. So to recap, our first answer was C, our second answer was D, our third answer was B, our fourth answer was C, and our fifth answer was C. Until next round, guys.